The views and opinions expressed in this recording are those of the speakers and contributors and do not necessarily reflect that of One Verse One Productions or the wood enthusiasts community. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, Steph, get me a pillow, will ya? Grab me a pillow. I just need one for my thighs. Sorry, Pastor Friend. Pastor Reverend Josh Friend, I gotta get a pillow from Steph.
No, it's my apologies to you. I've been looking for my phone and I wasn't able to find it for a while, so I wanted to connect with you. I know we had a scheduled appointment, so the blame is on me.
Well, on that specific issue, kind of to speak to that, exactly what you're saying about your lost phone, is that there's a time difference. You know, there's a pretty big time difference here between where I am in Alberta, and it's 2 hours.
Sure.
So when you're losing your phone, I mean, so from what I'm hearing is you lost your phone a few hours ago, but we're catching up now because it's just kind of that shift. But I was going to ask you a question about this, Mr. Friend. I have some information that I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but I was thinking about shooting you some digits, you know, a couple hours before they draw the lottery pool for you, because you're a few hours behind me, right? It's 11:12 p.m. here, and it's 9:12 p.m. there. So I was thinking maybe, you know, Lise, Steph, don't record this for a second. I just want to talk about this. Yeah, this could be fraudulent, but I was thinking about shooting you some of those lottery digits, and you could run out just right before they
whisper a little bit.
Yeah, just a Larry whisper, and you could run out and knock those off on a Friday night, and we could try to sort something out.
Gosh,
because there's not a lot of people that know people in different time zones.
I never even thought of it.
You know, some people don't even think about the internet.
Goodness, I'm sure no one has ever considered.
Yeah. Even presidential elections, I could call you and tell you about who made the 2020 elections, and I could call you and you could put $20 down and we could split the $20.
2 hours ahead, right?
Yeah, 2 hours ahead because you wouldn't have that information yet,
See,
so that's something to consider.
This is why you're so famous. And
Steph, let's get back to recording. He wants to talk about some of my celebrity and some of my fame. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, what were you saying, Mr. Friend?
Yeah, just saying how famous you were and how unbelievable the number of ideas that you come up with is.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true, and that's why they call me the unofficial leader. The wood enthusiast community, and that's why I glean to you a lot. I don't like to use the word king, but if you're going to use it, I suppose it's one of those things. I suppose,
Yeah. Well,
I wear jeans just like you do, kind of thing.
If the gelded shoe fits, I'm just saying.
Goodness. Such big words. But I actually wear clogs, and you know that. Obviously, I wear clogs. You're Dutch, and I'm a wood enthusiast, so we all wear clogs. And that's not a geld, which you were discussing, but you can have wooden ones, I suppose.
Well, I would just. I think you can make it personal and still allow those to be gelded in some way, shape, or form to put certain things on them, like rhinestones.
Do you do a lot of wood burning, Mr. Friend?
Wood burning? In two ways, actually. I both for culinary use, but also for just enjoyment, obviously.
That was kind of a trick question because when people hear wood burning, sometimes they think, art and creative work, things like, calligraphy. But obviously we're talking about smoking meats. We're talking about burning marshmallows. We're talking about, sometimes I make tables, with Japanese style of wood burning.
Wow.
And there's a lot of different ways that we can burn wood and really glean, some of the special things from that.
I would spend some significant time just listening to you talk about Japanese wood burning, but
yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I'm certain that was not the direction that we were, starting to go here. I guess, but
we did talk about Asian angels. We did talk about that on the last podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of Asian influence in our podcast.
And you can celebrate some of those significant wood sources that are available there, and the varieties.
Is Czech in Asia, Mr. Friend? Is Czech in Asia?
I don't think so. You know what? I gotta say, I'm much better with my Mediterranean geography.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not animals. We all know the Mediterraneans. That's something we've focused on as part of our community for a long time. The old expression that we made up, don't lose a day without the Mediterranean. The old expression.
Yeah. Old as the day is long.
Old as the day is long. That's a very, that's a specific. When we wrote that expression, that was a very specific reference to the giant sequoia.
Well, we were in the Mediterranean, just
right.
Recalling it, obviously.
But and we were looking at the sequoia, and
thinking,
and you had said, you said that tree is old as the day is long, and I said that's a reference that we're going to use, and it's really caught fire. That's another expression we made up, caught fire, because of all the wood we burn.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm always cautious when I think of wood and fire and smoke and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness!
I'm
sensitive.
You know what? I very much love my community here. As you know, I live in Fort McMurray, and here with my 4 kids, we did not experience what some other people did. But I'll tell you, there are certain words that you're careful about, and sometimes you've got to be cautious. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you, there's a whole bunch of wood enthusiasts here. Some people that really love Larry Woodstone, and
of course,
I've got one in my home who is so excited at the possibility of meeting Mr. Larry Woodstone. So,
yeah, and we're excited about it too. And I got, you sent me the e-transfer, and I got some cash to be able to go ahead with that conversation.
Yeah, you got it.
I just wanted to say, we did get it. It is received, and we'll squirt in about 10 minutes of time here for it. But you mentioned a little bit of uncomfortability. That's a word you used in Fort McMurray, and not a lot of people. We have people from 42 different countries, that listen to our show, and they're not sure what Fort McMurray has to do with fire. And there was a reckoning, really, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, really. Well, I guess the biggest difficulty for human people was the evacuation, and the evacuation started in May a few years ago, and the people were all moved out, and that was, I can only imagine how difficult that would have been. I also wonder from time to time what it was like for the trees, but I've got to say, we have a lot of birch here, and
wonderful tree to burn.
Oh, I got to say, it did burn, but one of the things that's been so beautiful has been seeing what has come from the ashes of those trees. Oh, it's unreal.
There's a scripture that you taught me that says, "Beauty for ashes. We'll exchange our beauty for ashes," and that's when things burn. What is replaced is truly a beautiful growth season. It's a season of growth, really, isn't it, Mr. Brent?
And beauty for ashes and strength for fears. That's the rest of it, I think.
You always have to kind of one up me, don't you?
Come on,
because there's a lot of things that that I don't.
Yeah, but you're Larry, and like I say, in our house, you're more than just a little bit of a celebrity, and so
yeah. Well, not just in your house, but yeah. Let me ask you another question here. It's a little bit biblically based. Here's a question.
Tricky.
So there's a little sensitivity when we talk about fires in Fort McMurray, and obviously you guys run an Awana program, and I grew up in the Awana programs in different churches. And there's a song that used to be called "Sparks for Jesus," and they say, "We're sparks for Jesus. We're sparks to light the world." And I wonder, maybe they had to change those words because some of the negative connotation, what a spark could do.
I can't imagine that happened.
Because of the fires.
Well, you know what? It probably has been a while since we've sung that song.
Wouldn't be very. You'd be insensitive, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it, Mr. Friend? Insensitive a little bit. Some of the children.
Yeah. Well, there are some. There are some songs out there that have words like this, and we have to be careful and I'm cautious. I guess I don't know how to say it, Larry, but there are even some times in the Bible where wood is mentioned, and it
refiner's
makes me
fire.
Oh, sure, yeah. And my mind goes off on a different direction. Sometimes I'm thinking about how, I've got a chance to talk to Larry.
Unbelievable.
Larry Woodstone. And I know I call you by your first name, but at the same time, I know
we've kind of allowed it. We've kind of allowed it, haven't we? We've built a relationship over years and 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 years. We've built a relationship
and years. Yeah, and so just say I hope you don't mind me calling you Larry.
Well, of course not. That's. There are some people. Mr. Clutterbucks tries to go me by my my informal names, and there's a time and a place. Of course, there's a time and a place. But Mr. Friend, we're excited about some of the things, and we released a podcast not too long ago, and I called you up and I asked for a special favor for Gary. I said, we've got this poem, and Gary is absolutely in love with trees, as he is. He's, it's suckling season. He's out there juicing trees and hitting some syrup and drilling some holes, and I said, what a treat it would be to be able to drop this poem, the withered oak, and you're able to perform that in some of your capacity that you do as a professional performer.
Sure. Now
and
in all honesty, I was really inspired by even just the invitation. I'm always kind of thrown back that you would include me in some of these things, but at the same time, I've got to say that poem really meant a lot to me.
Some powerful stuff.
To say the least.
It references wood, it references trees, it references leaves, it references roots. I mean, it runs the whole gamut. There's probably a secondary meaning, but on the surface, I mean, it's just a really good story about a tree that, fights with the wind and stands strong. And I'm sure there's a metaphor there. I'm not able to see it as much as other people are, but it's a really nice story about a strong tree, about the strength of a tree. That's one I would cut down for a table. You could kind of tell by the story how strong it was.
No kidding. And
I'd be looking for that.
Oak. I mean, yeah. If you're going to make a table, oak, right?
That's the one.
Yeah.
So out of this conversation, we out of this poem and out of this conversation, oddly enough, this week you actually sent me a poem of your own.
Can I?
That's exactly it, Mr.
Can I recite it now? Is that would that be too much?
Well, we were thinking about including it in our next podcast, and
no way.
And that's why I called up. And I wasn't nervous because I know that you would want to take your talents. You don't want to bury them in the sand. The old parable about burying your talents in the sand, and they even for the poor person, they get all taken away. If you don't pay attention.
Sure.
So I said, I told Gary. Gary said, do you think Pastor Reverend Josh Friend would do that? And I said, do I think he'd do it? Look at the opportunity we're giving him.
Sure.
Look at the opportunity we're giving him. So. I think if you don't mind, we're going to go ahead and we're going to have you recite that poem.
Oh, may I?
Okay, so now you can recite it later, and then we'll input it with, or unless you want to do it now the real way.
No, I'll do it. Yeah,
I'll do it well. Okay. How do you want to end this? How do you want to go? Is there any other thing that we should cover?
No, let's do it, and then I'll let you riff.
And then we'll have to intro your son right before we leave.
Sure. Okay.
Well, welcome back. Oh my goodness. I'm still, I've heard this. You obviously, you had to run it past me and the writers and the writing team. We sat down, we went over it line by line, word for word, stroke by stroke. And every time, there's a couple lines in there that just really kind of, poke me in the face, with that it's kind of like a hot fire when you're sitting by a fire and a spark gets you in the eye and it gets you in the forehead and you kind of shudder. And it's just got that kind of powerful feeling to it.
Well, I'm glad you think so, and just knowing that our contract together makes this your intellectual property, and that even though I've written it, that it's really yours. And
well, so it's a transfer of ownership.
Yeah. I realize that now.
Yeah, and some of my fame and some of my celebrity. When I go to say for example, I go to an automobile shop. And I walk in and and I purchase a car, just because they made it, they can't have it. It's not theirs. It becomes mine. And with my fame and my celebrity, I purchase things, and they're not as physical as a car, but they're people's, intellectual property.
Sure.
And they become mine. And that's exciting for me because obviously I'm kind of using a lot of my power and a lot of my, presence to promote some of the things that I own, which is, that poem and how powerful it is.
Well,
and for me,
and so
actually,
part of the deal, I as I understood it, was that you might find yourself close to our home so that you can meet my son. I mean, he's been just dying to meet you.
Yeah, that was part and parcel. But I it's my physical presence is kind of a what do I call a rich man's game.
It's rare. It's rare.
You know how the old expression, muddy is the boots, who wears them on the crown of the king, right? So
sure.
I mean, I might be able to. We're going to try to squirt in some phone time for sure. And I didn't want to use my data, so I'm not going to do any FaceTiming because I don't want to use any of my data.
Okay.
Bernice won't.
No. Okay.
Because Bernice doesn't want me to use all my data. I like to FaceTime Bernice when she's out shopping because I like to make sure she gets the right pantyhose and the right blouse. Sometimes she gets pantsuits and I'm not around, so I like to say, Bernice, let's FaceTime this and look at the right, what kind of tan, what color beige are we looking at here for these pantsuits?
Just get
I like to have a say on that.
Yeah. I will. I will tell him later that.
Yeah, we'll try to make some time for him if possible.
Okay.
I'll have a conversation.
I appreciate it.
But as you said, you physically paid, so we're going to be able to go ahead with that. But we'll have a conversation. That's exciting. That's exciting for you guys to have a chance for having to chat with me. But we're really excited. And I know Gary's just chomping at the bit to get back out there, suckling trees. He's sitting here. Gary's sitting right here, just kind of nodding off because he always says, sometimes Larry goes on and on and on. But
Gary,
that's what I do. That's what I do.
Just so him.
Hey, Steph, can you get Gary a glass of warm milk? Thanks. We're having some warm milk over here. It kind of gets Gary excited.
Gotcha.
He always likes a glass of warm milk. Wow, we blanked. I had nothing. Yep. That was the longest space I ever had without anything to say.
I'm creating space. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
I know because I don't know. Sometimes I riff too much. Maybe it's too late for me to think well.
Okay, so I'll give you one more maybe.
Okay.
It can be kind of like that silent plea.
All right.
So Larry, I know we're off air right now, and.
Hey, Steph, he wants off air again. Steph, turn him off for a second. Go ahead. Story pass to Reverend Josh Friend.
No, thanks. I think it would be really important for Norman to hear your voice.
Hey, Gary, what's that out there? Gary, what's that out?
And
Sorry, what's that?
Hi. So, I was just saying how it might be really...
Yeah, I'm still on the phone.
Important.
Sorry, Steph, we're going to go ahead and record. It's been a really great, what a great evening. Yeah. And some of what you've contributed, and we've talked about this with the guys, and I got some exciting information for you. I'm going to kind of release, and we recorded 2 podcasts in a row, so you wouldn't have heard everything from the first one. I showed you some tidbits, but we have kind of a new character, someone that you highly respect, someone that you that holds a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge.
No way.
And we're going to do a little clip here to kind of introduce him a little bit more. But Uncle Ken,
no way.
That's right. Ken. He's kind of made his way into the show, and aside from begging, to be on the show, we kind of talked to him and said, what will it take? What will it take?
I can't believe you got Ken.
Yeah. So what it's going to take is a lot of your air, a lot of your time.
Okay.
We're gonna replace a lot of what you do with Uncle Ken.
Do you need a check then again as well, or?
I think we'll just keep that flowing. We'll just keep the regular process flowing. We'll get you guys,
Yeah.
And Uncle Ken is
of course.
He's a man loaded with wisdom, and he goes out on the scene for us. You know that.
Can't believe it.
But we asked him to hit the streets and try to get us some information, and he talked a little bit about chords. Chords of wood, not chords of music. You're a big music guy, I know that, but he talks about chords of wood and just unloads on information. So we're gonna let me break in here. We're gonna play a little clip. We're gonna come right back, but let's play a little Ken clip. Here we go.
Okay.
Woman who lived in a shoe. Why would she live in a shoe? How stupid can you be? Lived in a shoe? Well, the shoe fits, wear it, but come on, lived in a shoe. She had so many children. What were they, ants? And who was the old woman? Anyway, I don't know. Maybe she's waiting for Santa Claus? Not in the shoe, she ain't. Okay, she's waiting in the shoe. Why would she do that? Didn't Santa come down the chimney? Oh, speaking of coming down the chimneys, Santa can't come down chimneys. Oh, yeah, special against sleep. Yeah, right. Fairy tales, that humbug. But, okay, I believe in Santa Claus.
Whatever. Off the deep end.
Yeah, I enjoy a good meal, but baby food, stuff like that is just to muck around it. I don't know how babies stand it. I guess they understand after a while, and when they get teeth, and said, "Oh, bet you they can't wait to get their teeth." Oh yeah. Anyway, youth group. Yeah, I don't think it got that messy. Well, maybe, and maybe there's more of that messy insanity to come in future videos. We shall see. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag or let the secrets out too much yet. We shall have to see, especially when the summer comes. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I guess that's it for tonight. We did more serious things at youth groups and camps, like, singing and sing songs and stuff like that. Of course, we had the backwards dinners, did everything backwards. Didn't dress backwards, you just had the dessert first, then you prayed last, and I think it's also called progressive dinner for different hosts, and you just go to their places and so on and so forth. And that'll be a pretty long video, so that I don't think it's gonna happen, or maybe. Anyway, we'll just have to wait and see. All right, later, boys and girls, if there's any girls around. You too. Bye.
And so that's what you're going to get when you hear Uncle Ken. Isn't that incredible stuff?
Oh man, I'll tell you, it's worth it. And you know what, Larry, if I could introduce my son to anyone other than you, it would be Uncle Ken.
That's exactly. If you're gonna raise your kids right, they're gonna get to know some of the wisdom and advice that Uncle Ken has to offer.
Yeah, but
so we are excited as the day is long.
But you're still gonna talk to my son, right? You're gonna
we'll try to squeeze that. We'll try to squirt that in. It's getting late, so I can squirt in some time.
There's just a promise out there that
I've always said never make a promise you can't keep, especially when it's not in your authority to do so. And I've always said that, Josh, Pastor Reverend friend Josh, you know that. But we're excited. We're really excited to squirt some time in for the young folks, because I'll tell you, this is the next generation. When we look at the next enthusiasts, we need to raise up some real serious wood enthusiasts. Someone that looks at a dovetail joint and says that's life. Someone that looks like a butt joint and kind of snarls and says that's disgusting, but they look at a finger joint and says that's what I want to do.
Indeed.
Didn't you cut your fingers off with a saw, Mr. Friend?
I did. I did.
That must have hurt. Hurt your fingers. No, it's not something to talk about right now.
No, it did. No, it hurt. It was painful.
It was painful.
Yeah.
And I think maybe next podcast we can talk about that story, because you know what? Let's ask you this question now. I know this is sensitive, and you in our contract with you actually specifically asked me not to bring these situations up, but
several times.
With some of my authority, that's right. With some of my some of my celebrity, I get the opportunity to squeeze things out of people, squirt them out of people, right? So
your lawyer told me.
I was going to ask you, one of the doctors, Dr. Aman, I called him up because I wanted to verify the story.
Yeah.
I called him up.
Sure.
And he gave me this little funny, there's a little line you like to use, and it's not yours, it's somebody else's intellectual property. It's not, speak of the devil. It's not even your information. But you said this line to me. Explain this little story here.
Okay. Well, I was...
Let's move it along, Mr. Friend. Go ahead and explain the story.
Heavily medicated, and was in... looking at two of my fingers.
Staff, cut it for a second. Sorry, Pastor Friend.
Yeah, no.
You said heavily medicated on the air there, and you're a pastor. Do you want to cut that part out?
No.
Because it's drugs, right?
I don't know what they gave me, but it was something to make me not feel.
Steph, let's cut that out. Just cut the drugs part out. Cut the part off that he said drugs. Okay, let's go. Okay, Steph, log us in. Here we go.
So I arrived at the hospital and had an opportunity to meet a wonderful doctor whose name was Dr. Aman.
Oh, my goodness.
And, he let me know that my fingers both my fingers on my left hand, the index finger and the middle finger of mine were the fingers affected by.
Steph, this is super boring. Can you cut that and just do the story fast? Make just speed it up. Yeah, it's boring. Yeah, he talks too much. Let's edit that and just speed that part up.
So I arrived at the hospital and had an opportunity to meet a wonderful doctor whose name was Dr. Aman. Oh my goodness. And yeah, he let me know that my fingers, both my fingers on my left hand, the index finger and the middle finger of mine were the fingers affected by
a table saw, and he let me know that my middle finger was still long enough for me to be able to drive in New York City.
And you know what? You told me that right off the bat, and I didn't get it because sometimes I'm always thinking wood. I'm thinking wood, hardwood, softwood, whatever I can think of. So I just spent a couple minutes thinking. There's kind of a crass connotation there, isn't there, Mr. Friend?
That's the joke. For a pastor,
that's
the joke.
There's a joke there. Maybe pastor shouldn't be saying about giving the middle finger, but the joke there is there's enough finger there to shoot it up in downtown New York City because people are angry.
Yep.
And when you called me, this is where the conversation, and this is why I asked you to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
Part of what you said was the reason they're angry is because there's not a lot of trees. Isn't that right? You said that. You said there's no trees. There's just that fake trees in Central Park, but everything else is fake. You said.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's part of it. Sorry, I'm still thinking about my fingers. I apologize. Yeah, Central Park. Maybe.
I think maybe for the cover we should do a picture of your fingers for the podcast cover.
Okay.
I know you said
my
your contract
lawyer's
specifically
telling
said
me,
no pictures, but
no, my lawyer's telling me I got it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Larry's got the power. I've already sent the email off, so I'm super excited to see that picture and kind of move forward with that because you used to play piano. And now all you can do is kind of smash your fist on the piano. Now, if I'm to understand it, right, you just kind of smash your hand against the piano keys.
I think that's accurate. Yeah,
you used to be a beautiful piano player. Back when you were very young and attractive and healthy, and now you kind of just smash your hand on the piano keys. It sounds like that's what I'm hearing. Is that right, Mr. Bren?
Yeah, that's about it.
Hey, Lise, insert that little clip where he was trying to play piano. Remember that clip? Insert that. That'll be funny for the people will love that. It'll be a pretty good joke. Oh.
Sounds embarrassing. Must be difficult to talk about. This is probably one of the reasons you don't like to talk about it. Isn't that right?
That could be one.
Yeah, this conversation, it kind of turned a different corner. And that's kind of what Larry's specialty is, pulling it out of people, like kind of hard-hitting journalism.
Indeed. That and contractual law. Apparently, you are very, very adept at contractual law.
Just bypassing thing that, and Steph always says, "Don't worry, Larry, we've got you covered. You just do what you do." And I that's what I do best.
Somehow you own the rights to any song I've ever written before I've written them.
Mr. Clutterbuck walking through the forest, watering the trees even though they don't need it. Mr. Clutterbuck. Bum, bum.
And I don't even know how to explain that.
Yeah, and then you tried to say, well, I'm just going to quit writing songs. And I said, well, you can't legally. That's not, legally you have to write at least 2 a month.
I was also informed.
But that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, really, at the end of all things. And that's actually scripture verse. At the end of all things. I think it's in one of the books of the Bible. So that's something you should know. Yeah. You probably do.
Perhaps. It depends on your translation.
Oh. Well, at the end of a season, and certainly at the start of a season, and oftentimes midway, you're always working on contracts, and obviously, Mr. Friend's struggling with his new one, and that's exciting for us, and we're gonna fire back, and we're excited about where this season's gonna go, and it's just the precipice, we're at the very beginning of a season, and sometimes we walk on fine lines, and sometimes we make stupid deals where I'll call someone's kid, just to make someone happy, but I'm not going to shoot over there. But we're really excited. So now we have this very exciting, and actually, it turned into an exciting direction with a young man named Norman. a young man Pastor Reverend Friend Josh knows very well, and that's your son.
You've talked to my son?
Yeah, I called him earlier today when he got home from school. You were at work, but I had to kind of knock this off. I didn't have a lot of time to kind of waste.
I'm just looking at my lawyer here for a sec.
Yeah, that's okay. It's not a big deal. You're welcome. You begged.
He's nodding and saying that.
Yeah.
In fact, this is somehow in my contract.
That's right. That's right. We had these conversations with your son, who was, who I was contractually obligated as well, but I also said I do what I want, and we gleaned some great information. What a wonderful young fella, and he likes to talk about all sorts of stuff, and he was actually challenging me, so that speaks volumes to your parenthood. He also called you out a few times on some of your parenting decisions. So,
well, do we have any recourse? Sorry, Larry. Do we have any recourse here, or is it just the?
Steph, I think he's talking to his lawyer. Just give him a sec.
I'm talking. I'm not talking to you. Yeah. I'm saying. Okay. I'm hearing no. So.
Hey, Steph, let's log us back in. Yeah, so we're really excited. Let's cut to this exciting interview with our young Pastor Reverend Josh Friend's son. He's only 6 years old, but still legal because we're 3 provinces away. So it's still legal, but some of those kind of legal loopholes.
How is this possible?
Let's have a... Sorry. So let's have a quick listen. Here we go. Hello, this is Larry Woodstone here. I'm just calling to speak to Mr. Norman.
Yep, Norman, just 1 second.
Yeah, we're trying to have a conversation. This is Larry Woodstone from the Wood Enthusiasts.
Sounds good to me. He's right here.
Yes.
Is this Mr. Norman?
Yes.
Now, I'm curious if you were named after Norman Rockwell, the very famous painter. Do you know the painter Norman Rockwell?
No, just I have an uncle Norm.
Maybe your uncle's Norman Rockwell. That'd be very exciting. Does he fly planes?
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't fly any planes?
He goes
That could be Norman
planes,
Rockwell, because I don't think Norman Rockwell flies planes either. This could be very exciting, Norman.
Why?
That's a very good question. This is the Wood Enthusiast. Do you have a favorite type of tree?
Those trees that make those syrup maple trees?
Oh, absolutely.
Leaf? I
Do you
love
ever drink
those
maple
because there's a
syrup?
maple leaf on Canada. Sorry for
Oh, yeah.
Sorry for
Terrific tree.
Okay.
Really
Also,
nice tree to pick there, Mr. Norman.
I know. Also, I'm sorry for interrupting when I was saying my favorite tree.
Oh, you interrupt as much as you can. This show is all about you, Norman. You can interrupt me as much as you need to.
I can?
Yeah, because Mr. Larry Woodstone tends to talk a lot, so you can always interrupt. You can talk about firemen or spaceships, or wood, some of your favorite things.
My great-grandpa used to be a lumberjack.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's incredible. What do you think he did when he was a lumberjack?
Cut down trees like lumberjacks do. That's their job.
Oh, my goodness. When you said lumberjack, I was thinking about, one of those old fishermen that chew gum. That's what I was thinking.
Also, I'm looking how, I have a very good question.
Oh, wonderful.
And, also, are you light-skinned or dark-skinned?
I'm dark-skinned. Sometimes I sit out in the sun just a little too long and I get a little pink. Maybe a little bit of red at times.
Okay.
What about you, Norman? Are you light-skinned, Norman, or are you dark-skinned?
I'm light-skinned.
And what do you think that... Do you think that matters sometimes? Or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter much because it's not the past.
Yeah, it's not the past at all.
In the past, I wouldn't be able to see dark skin.
Such a bunch of nonsense, isn't it? Isn't it, Norman?
Yeah, well, at least they finally decided light-skinned and dark should have therapy together and be good.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Norman, let me ask you a question about your father. I think, from what I understand, Pastor Reverend Josh Friend is your father. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you think he's a very smart man or not a real thinker?
He's a pretty smart man. He is.
He's a pretty smart man.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you think he's raising you to be a pretty smart young fella?
Sure, ask me any math question.
Okay. What's 1,000 times 997,226 divided by 4?
Not like crazy, super crazy math questions.
Oh, okay. Like what's 7 plus 7? Sounds to me like you might be counting
15.
some digits over there.
15.
Oh, you nailed it. Nail on the head, that's what I say. You know, someone like Mr. Clutterbuck, he wouldn't have a clue what that answer is, and you're getting so close, it's like you're close to the fire. Do you like campfires?
Yeah.
Norman, you a big campfire fan?
Wait, I need to remember this question. Ask me 3 times 4.
What's 3 times 4?
12.
Oh, I wouldn't even... You know, Glenn Clutterbuck wouldn't know that question because he's real dumb. And it's not nice to call people dumb. I think it's inappropriate, but when it comes to Mr. Clutterbuck, he's actually very stupid. So it's important to say that.
My dad told you don't like bad words.
Yeah, that's an inappropriate word, isn't it?
I'm trying to do my best not to say bad words.
Yeah, that's a real rotten one. Even if someone deserves it, I shouldn't have even said it. Sometimes, how old are you, Norman? Are you 17 years old?
I'm
Are
6.
you 17? You're 16 years old? Do you have a mustache?
No! Why
Do you think you're
would I
great?
have a mustache? How would a kid like me have a mustache?
Well, mustaches, they're a great look. Do you think your grandfather had a mustache when he was just chopping down trees?
I don't know. I didn't even meet my great-grandfather.
Incredible. He sounds like a wonderful man. By all the things that you're saying about him, he sounds like a wonderful guy.
I'm gonna work as a pirate that gets money if I find any. I'll give it to the government.
Wow.
So that they can give it to the workers so that they can buy more stuff and buy more good stuff so that they can build more houses that more homeless people can live.
Well, that sounds like a really nice pirate.
Yeah, I'm not
That sounds
gonna be
like a
one of
pirate
those
with a really
bad
thick
pirates
mustache.
that
Oh, yeah, you don't want to be a bad pirate.
I don't like bad people.
Yeah, bad people don't have mustaches either. So, a nice pirate would have a really thick mustache when you're old enough to grow one, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You seem to be
Also-
obsessed with mustaches.
I have a question.
Let's
Can
do
you
it.
play guitar?
Oh, I play the organ. I play the chrono, which is a really fun
you
instrument that
whistle?
I invented. Yeah.
Can you?
How about you, Norman? Are you a whistler? Oh my goodness, you sound like your classic Whistling Dixie.
My brother can't even whistle.
Well, your brother's probably not as smart as you, Norman.
My
It
grandma
takes a
can't
smart person to
even
be able to
whistle.
He doesn't sound very smart.
My grandma can't even whistle.
Your grandma, does she have all of her teeth? Does your grandma have all of her teeth? Sometimes it's hard to whistle if you don't have all your teeth.
She has fake teeth. I don't know. I literally don't know.
Do you know if your grandma has a lot of licorice? Does she eat a lot of licorice?
I don't know, but she has a lot of licorice, and she gives it to us mostly. Also, I have a question. Do you have any very hard questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Hard?
I've got a couple really hard questions.
You know?
Yeah,
I'm
wondering if you want to try to answer one.
Yeah,
Okay.
just one.
One of the hardest trees in the world is the bal oak. It's in Australia. And what do you think the Jenko rating of a bal oak is?
I think it's a very hard tree.
Oh my goodness,
I think it's
Mr. Norman,
harder. I think it's.
you're very smart, Mr. Norman.
Is it harder than an oak tree? Because I think it is.
It is. It is very much harder than an oak tree.
Wow.
What do you think the Jenko rating is? Give me a number. What do you think the Jenko rating of a bal oak, an Australian bal oak tree would be?
20.
Oh my goodness.
I think the oak tree is
It's 21. It's 21. That's how close you are.
What? I was one step closer to it.
That's unbelievable. I talked to your father about that years ago, and he said 7,000.
What?
He's not a very good guess. He's not a very good guesser.
Oh.
We can't all be as smart as Norman Friend, isn't that right?
I know.
Yeah. What do your teachers say about you, Norman? Do they say you're a smart, the old smart cat? Or do they think you're a,
Some people
are you
call
a
me
class clown?
a smarty head, and I don't like it.
Oh my goodness.
I don't like
In Canada, Smarties are a snack. Do you like Smarties? Do you like the snack Smarties?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with a smarty, so I think it sounds like your teacher's saying you're really smart when they call you a smarty. In fact, I've got smarty pants on. I got pockets loaded with Smarties all the time. It's a little fun fact about Larry Woodstone.
I
I'll
have
go
a
nowhere without my
sister-
handful of Smarties.
I have a sister that can't even ride a bike that she's 12.
That's unbelievable. Sounds like your father's not really, meeting his goals. Norman, we've got a few more questions for you, Norman. And firstly, I hear you're a huge fan of the Wood Enthusiasts, and I heard you just can't get enough of us, and we're really excited about that. But
Actually,
got
I
another question.
watched Jeopardy a bit more than... Actually, I have never heard of the Wood Enthusiast. I have never, so I don't really know about it. Just when I found out about it, I found out you were a very important person.
Oh my goodness. Of course, the entire world. There's 42 different countries that listen to our radio show, and your dad, Pastor Reverend Josh Friend, is one of the wisest people I've ever met. And we get him on the show, and he uses that low voice. Can you do his low voice, Norman? Do you have a chance to do his low voice?
I can do deep voice.
How deep can you go?
Of course I can.
Oh my goodness. That sounds like a world record low voice for a child your age. And how old did you say you are? Did you say you're 17?
No, I said I was 6.
16. My mistake. So just
I'm
kind of
not
right in the middle of the
16. I'm not even a teenager. I'm 6. Just 6.
So you're just a little bit older than 5 and a little bit younger than 10. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And you're kind of on your way to growing
How
up.
hard do you
muscles
think the Statue of Liberty is? Account to 1 to a billion.
A 7.
Are
I think
you
around a
joking
7.
me?
Maybe 70? Is that?
I'm mostly saying
we-
70, 78.
78.
Guys, dude, who can throw an axe at it and it not even crack?
I can throw an axe at it. I can throw an axe at it from right where I am. I can see it out my window.
Where do you even live?
I'm quite important, so I like to fly around on airplanes. Right now, I'm just looking out of an airplane, and I can see it right out my window. I'm just flying over New York City.
Wait, you literally are?
Oh, Norman.
Yeah.
Larry Woodstone's not the type to sit around. I like to fly all over the world and look at different trees. I'm just going to go to India in the next couple of days and look at some trees. That's important to me.
Have you ever gone to Latin America?
Oh yeah, I've seen The Lion King live. I actually went to Africa and saw the lions from The Lion King, and I watched the movie while I was sitting there in the desert. That's important.
Wait, I have a question. A very important one. Did you go to Latin America already?
To Latin America?
Sorry? Latin America. It's a very dangerous place.
Yes, it's a very dangerous place. In fact, I was there having a bowl of soup, and someone came by and just stole the bowl of soup right out of my hands. And it was tomato soup.
I love
Most people don't even like tomato soup, Norman.
I like chicken noodle soup more than tomato soup.
Absolutely, and somebody snatched that tomato soup right out of my hands.
He did?
What the heck am I supposed to do that? I was sitting there having my bowl of soup, dipping crackers and bread into it right there in Latin America, and some guy comes around and just steals my bowl of soup.
Next time you go there, you should just be there for 1 second. You should just keep flying over Latin America, because Latin America has a bunch of dangerous people.
They also have some beautiful trees.
Even has
they have a Latin America maple. Oh, it's a beautiful tree, Norman.
It even has something called an orangutan, which I know what it's called. Yeah, those are like one of the most dangerous. And wow, our recorder is almost all the way at 400.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
I don't know when it's gonna be at 400, but I think it's already at 400.
Hey Norman, I've got a concern here. I want to ask you about this concern.
Yeah?
You ever heard of a baboon?
Of course I have.
It's got you know what I don't like about that monkey is it doesn't wear any shorts, and it's got a big pink bum sticking out at the back.
Are you serious?
And every time I go down there and I'm sitting with the baboons and their bums are sticking out, and I'm thinking, you guys got to get some shorts on. The rest of you guys got hair covering up their bums, and baboons are just sitting there with their pink bums sticking out. I think that's a little bit rude.
I know. It is very rude.
So I was thinking about starting a charity where we can buy some shorts and ship them down to the baboons. What do you think about that, Norman?
I think of buying gigantic underwear and then plopping them in lava.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about.
I don't like baboons.
Norman, have you ever made anything out of wood? You ever made anything out of wood? Maybe something with sports? Anything
No,
like that?
but I held something that was wood. It was carved, then made smooth so that it couldn't splinter anybody. And it's a shielded crest. It's a crest shaped like a shield.
That sounds incredible.
Did you
Do you
know?
ever sniff it? Do you ever sniff it? Do you ever take a little smell and just sniff it to see what it smells like?
No,
'Cause
but
wood has
it's
a beautiful smell.
and I got it from my Uncle Norm.
You know,
He
I know
gave
one
me
of your
last
uncles.
Christmas.
You know, I know one of your uncles, your Uncle Ben. He lives in my town.
Yes? Wait.
And sometimes when I have garage sales,
you know
sometimes when I
it?
have garage sale, I do. And sometimes I have garage sales. He comes by my garage sale and buys some of my junk, some of my trash.
You have
Uncle
trash there? Do you sell any puppy stuffies?
Yeah, we have lots of puppy stuffies.
Yay.
In fact, yesterday I sold about 30 puppy stuffies for 10 cents a piece. And
Wait.
Uncle Ben came over. He didn't even buy one. He was being rude.
No, I think he just doesn't have much kids that like dogs. I think
it's time for him to grow up, is what I think.
Also,
who doesn't see a stuffy puppy for 10 cents and doesn't buy it? That's just nonsense.
I get it. I really do. Cents. Money. Cents. Word. Get it?
It's unbelievable.
You should come over
my
here.
goodness.
Here, have a garage hustle hail near Fort McMurray 129 Crescent. And I would go there.
So that's your whole address.
And
right there on the
if
radio
I
for the
had
whole world.
10 cents, I would just give them to you and buy 30 stuffies. I love dogs.
So I'll just pack up all my stuff and I'll ship it on a plane. We'll spend all that cargo fees and we'll have a big old garage sale at 10 cents a piece. That sounds like a good idea, Norman.
Yeah, you could get rich fast if you made everything 1 cent. Well, it would be a way to make people interested. It would be a way to get money faster, but it would be a way to get rich slower.
Wow.
And it would
And I
be
think
hard.
Sometimes the most important thing in the world is trying to get rich. That doesn't seem right, does it?
I'm thinking of making a life stand. It's only 5 cents for nothing.
Unbelievable.
That's
That
life.
seems like a really good deal. I've always wondered if your father taught you that when a strange man calls, just to sit and chat on the phone for a long time. I'm wondering if that's part of the, one of those life lessons that you sell for 5
Larry,
cents.
Did you know, we've been on the phone for 19 minutes and...
Oh my dear heavens.
Did you know it's really actually rude to interrupt people on the phone? So, how about we take turns? Because then if we take turns, it'll be easier and not rude. Okay?
That sounds like a...
Yeah.
See, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk here because I wasn't sure if you were done. Because I can't see your face, Norman.
I know.
I can't see you, and if I saw your face, I'd know if you had a mustache or not. But
Where
frankly,
are
I
you
have no clue.
anyways?
I'm at the other side of the world. I'm in an airplane over New York City.
Bye.
You have a great night, Mr.
Okay,
Norman.
good night. Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.
That is a powerful interview, and we were really excited about that. And we were just off air, and I was talking to Mr. Friend here, and he, I said to him, I said that, you wanted to be part of the season with some of the contract issues, and we kind of, read him over and after you signed, which is your mistake, not ours. But, we also kind of screwed you over in a certain sense, but that's fine because it's part of the show. The show is more important than Pastor Reverend Josh Friend is what we're trying to say. It's not all about you, and we're just glad to have you on board for season 2 to 27. And we locked you right in, and that's exciting for us because I know that's years and 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 years ahead of us that you're going to be part of the team.
Steph, I think he hung up. Let's just end this one. I think he's hung up.
ask me, what do I love best? Well, I'll tell you what, 'cause I'm an enthusiast. I'm a wood enthusiast. The sycamore, oak, aspen, pine, and fir, the hemlock, maple, willow, dogwood, and poplar, ash, hickory, beech, tamarack, and cedar, hawthorn, jack pine, buckeye, cherry, and birch. I'm a wood enthusiast. I love to look and cut and build an absinthe. And if you ask me, what do I love best? Well, I'll tell you what, 'cause I'm an enthusiast. I'm a wood enthusiast.